You believe that if you stop moving, the floor beneath you will dissolve into an abyss. It is a quiet, suffocating conviction, isn't it? That thin, brittle thread of control you hold is the only thing keeping the ceiling of your existence from collapsing onto your chest. You wake up long before the alarm, eyes staring into the dark, already calculating the structural integrity of the day ahead. If you miss a beat, if you falter in your response, if you leave a single email unread or a single expectation unmet, the entire facade you have meticulously constructed will crumble. You are the architect of a prison built from efficiency and composure, and you are terrified that if you unlock the door, you will find nothingness waiting on the other side. This is not discipline. It is a desperate, trembling dance with the fear that you are only as valuable as the burdens you carry. The coffee is lukewarm by the time you reach for it, but you don't notice. Your hands are busy, even when they are still, tapping out rhythms of anxiety against the edge of the desk. To the world, you are the reliable one, the person who balances the ledger, keeps the peace, and wears the mask of serene competence like a second skin. They praise your stability, unaware that it is sustained by a frantic, internal vibration. You watch them move through their days with a lightness that feels alien, bordering on offensive. How do they just exist without feeling the crushing gravity of every potential failure? You analyze every interaction, replaying the tone of a voice or the slight pause in a colleague's sentence, hunting for the moment you slipped, the moment the cracks became visible. You are not living, you are managing a crisis that only exists inside your head. The laundry piles up, the plants wilt in their corners, and the silence in your apartment becomes a physical weight, yet you keep tightening the screws on your professional life, convinced that this precision is your only armor against irrelevance. The exhaustion is not something that can be solved with sleep. It is deep in the marrow, a sediment of years spent anticipating disasters that never arrive and mourning futures that have yet to be born. There is a specific kind of violence in the way you suppress your own needs. You treat your exhaustion as a nuisance, a mechanical glitch to be overridden by willpower, as if your nervous system were merely a faulty wire you could patch with sheer determination. You tell yourself that this is just adulthood, the necessary attrition of selfhood for the sake of survival. But deep down, you know the truth, you are afraid of the silence that would follow if you stopped. If the machine stops, who are you? If the lists are unchecked and the expectations are ignored, what remains of the person underneath the performance? You fear the emptiness more than the burnout, because the burnout is proof that you are still holding the world together, however poorly. Sometimes, in the dead of night, you test the theory. You imagine dropping the plate you are holding, letting it shatter against the floor just to see if the world actually ends. You imagine not showing up, not answering, not being the person everyone relies on. In those flickers of fantasy, you feel a terrifying, beautiful vertigo. It is the temptation of the collapse. You wonder if the people around you would even notice the change, or if they have become so accustomed to the structure you provide that they have forgotten you are the one holding the pillars up. The rage at this thought is sharp and cold. It is a lonely fury, born from the realization that your self-sacrifice has become the baseline expectation, not an act of love or dedication. You are drowning in the shallows, gasping for air while pretending to enjoy the swim, terrified that if you stand up, everyone will see that the water was only ankle-deep all along. The internal monologue is a closed loop of self-admonition. Every mistake is magnified, every success is minimized as a baseline requirement. You are constantly braced for an impact that never comes, your muscles permanently contracted, your mind constantly scanning the horizon for the next threat to your carefully curated normalcy. There is no joy in the maintenance, there is only the avoidance of catastrophe. You have traded your capacity for wonder for the security of certainty. You know every contour of your schedule, every limit of your endurance, and you operate within these boundaries like a bird in a cage, terrified of the sky because you have forgotten how to fly without a predetermined path. The most terrifying thought is not that you will fail, but that you will succeed at this level of performance for the rest of your life, eventually waking up one day to find that you have become the very machine you built to protect yourself. The light begins to shift in the room, signaling the end of another day spent in this silent, high-stakes navigation. You look at your reflection in the darkened window, but the person looking back feels like a stranger, a familiar, weary mask that you have forgotten how to take off. You realize then that the fear was never about the world collapsing. It was about you. You were afraid that if you stopped holding the world up, you would realize that you were never the one holding it in the first place. The world would have kept turning without your frantic, misguided intervention. Your constant, agonizing effort was not a pillar of stability, it was a wall you built to keep yourself from facing the fact that you are small, fragile, and utterly alone in your need to be needed. You have been holding your breath for so long that your lungs have forgotten how to expand without permission. The tragedy is not that you might break, but that you have been holding the shards together with so much force that you can no longer feel your own skin. I built a cage to keep the world from falling. I forgot that I was the one trapped inside.